Hi everybody. In this video, I want to just go through the different types of visas that are available to people here in Sri Lanka. I think there's a lot of confusion between the different visas and what they actually allow you to do. People might be inclined to sort of get the wrong one and everything. So I thought hopefully this might sort of clear things up a little bit for people. So let's have a look. Okay, so the first one that I'm going to go through is the tourist visa, probably the most common one that people are going to be after. So this is just for anybody who's essentially just coming for like a holiday. They just want to do some sightseeing. They want to sort of, just hang out at the beach, whatever. Um, that is given in generally in 30-day sort of blocks to people. I know at certain countries or in certain countries, you can go to the consulate there. You can request a longer sort of period, up to about 90 days. It may be granted to you then and there, just depending on the situation, depending on you, which country it is, things like that. But for the most part, it's generally going to just be given in 30 days. And then you have the option to extend it for longer when you're actually in the country. So generally, you'll get the 30 days. Then you can, when you arrive in Sri Lanka, you can extend it then up to 90 days. So then that's 3 months. Then after that, you can extend it for another 90 days, giving you a total of 180 days. So 6 months. After that, it can be extended longer, but that's then at the discretion of the minister, depending on your personal circumstances. Otherwise, 6 months is probably about the limit. At the moment, with all sort of restrictions all around the world and all that, I think you sort of you might be better off looking into that specifically for your country, because things are going to be changing here and there, as they have for the last couple of years. So, but generally, prior to all that, you could just get a visa on arrival. For a lot of countries, you would literally just get to the airport. They would give you a visa. A lot of times it was free as well, depending on the countries, depending on the arrangement. And yeah, then you can't really do anything sort of major with this visa. You can just be in the country as a tourist. You can go to sites, you can stay at hotels, go to the beach. Like, that's just for that kind of stuff. As I said, at the moment, you're probably best to look into the specific requirements at the time that you're coming, because things do change quite quickly. But that one's very simple to get. Most countries, as I said, it's just on arrival normally, or it's even free normally. At the time, though, there's a little bit more to it, but you're better to check specifically when you're watching this video. Business visa as well. This one's really misunderstood. I don't even really, yeah, like, I've had a business visa. So when I first moved here years ago, I got a business visa because I was starting a business. And so the business visa is primarily for anybody who is wanting to come to not work but do business. So, maybe it's like business conferences, maybe you are coming to, yeah, as I said, register a business. You're doing business, but you're not actually, it doesn't give you the ability to work. So don't get confused with that. I think people think that, or some people that I've spoken to think that business visa, you can get it and you can actually work on this visa. You can't. It gives you the ability to do various business things, yeah, you can have conferences, you can have business meetings, you can register your business, things like that. I don't, yeah, it's a little bit, the business visa one, I don't sort of see the use of it that much, unless I'm sort of missing something with it. I got it because I thought I was supposed to at that time for registering a business. It turns out like it really didn't matter too much. I just had like then a tourist visa, or I could have just got just a tourist visa. It wouldn't have really made too much difference. So that, yeah, I mean, maybe look into that a bit more. I don't really think Yeah, with the business one, there's yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, that one. Anyway, so then go to the residence visas. So these ones, residence visa is going to be probably the most permanent way that you would be able to stay here if you're not a Sri Lankan citizen. So there's a lot of different categories that you may fall into and be eligible for, depending on your personal sort of circumstances. So I'll run through them. So employment category, that's going to be anybody who's employed by a company. Generally, it will be a company under the Board of Investment. So that is a sort of organization in Sri Lanka that essentially for big investment companies and stuff, they get sort of approval. I think they get sort of certain benefits and things if it's registered with the Board of Investment, but I think the company itself needs to meet certain criteria to be able to register with Board of Investment. So, but any, like for an employment category like residence visa, your company should handle it for you. They'll sort of when they're employing you, just things. It's all written here on the website. This is just in the residence visa category. So documents to submit to apply for the residence visa under this category. So Board of Investment certificate, request letter from the company, so it's them proving that they're requesting you to work there. Board of Investment agreement, again, that would just be to do with the Board of Investment stuff. So company registration, company obviously has to be registered. Recommendation from the respective ministry. You have to get ministry approval. Your company should do that. Depending on which industry that company is, it would determine which ministry to go through with that. Just passport copy. So then specific to the project as well. I mean, I haven't had one of these, so myself, but yes, I have. That's not true. That mine when I had my company, I was a director, but I suppose that still fit into this employment category. That I'll talk about that in a little bit. So just the agreement of so just things basically to do. Your company should do this. They should have all those if they're employing people. Then they should just submit it to the correct people. The fees and everything. This one is 1 year. So and then it gets renewed, provided that you stay with the company. I mean, if you can't just get like a residence visa, work there for a little bit, quit, and then expect your residence visa to still be valid. It's valid under the sort of rules that you are still with that company. Like that's how it all sort of works. So that one, employment one, your company that you're working for should know how to handle that. Be a bit surprising if they didn't. Personnel employed at a bank. Again, that's the same thing. Just the bank, like it's a bank, that one. So it's the same stuff though. Volunteers, this one. So people often like to come volunteer at the sort of like orphanages or the animal shelters, things like that. You do need to volunteer here. You still do need to you can't just come on a tourist visa and just decide you want to volunteer for a bit. It still needs to be done properly, or it should be anyway. People sometimes might not, but it should be done properly, and you should get a residence visa under like a not for profit type organization that you're going to be volunteering at. So again, it's the same sort of thing. You just need to get so head office. That's where you get the application. Just what do I need to submit? Okay, again, so that would just be the person running the organization, request from the organization. So as I said, Ministry of Defense Work. So that would be that's obviously the ministry for the volunteering stuff. The agreement signs, if it's something that's an agreement between Sri Lanka and your country, but not if it's just like a personal sort of thing that you're doing. For the person volunteering, just a request letter from the organisation, the ministry recommendation, I suppose, and that's, as I said, between Sri Lanka and your country, if that's the agreement that it's under. So it's got the validity period, so 1 year. Again, you can renew it. Personnel employed in a project, or so again, same sort of thing. It's just you need to get really. I won't go through too much detail with these because they're pretty similar. The company that you're going to be working with should handle all this, but you really just need to get approval from whichever ministry the industry is that your company sort of falls under, and you just need to then submit essentially them requesting for you to work there and proof that it's all real and the project that you're going to be partaking in exists and what the how it's all going to work. So then it just tells you how you can renew it, just the conditions. So which one's this? So yeah, company request. These forms, Form 40, Form 65, so personnel employed in a private company. Okay, this is the one that I had. All right, so Form 48, Form 65, they will be given to whoever is the owner of that company, the director of that company. For me, at the time that I did it, I was the director of my own company. So I had these forms. It's just sort of the registration of your business to say that it's a legitimate business, that it just has the details of shareholders, directors, things like that. So for this, if you're somebody like what I was doing, I started the company and then had myself as the director. So that's what also then allowed me to get my visa, because I was the director of the company. So I used my position as the director of the company to essentially employ myself, and then I was able to get the residence visa because I was employed by a private company, if that makes sense. It's a bit confusing. So, but these documents, so when you register a company, or if whoever is the owner of the company that will be employing you, they will have Form 48, Form 65. Company request, it's just, I requested myself, essentially. So whoever's in charge of that company would request you. As I said, recommendation from the ministry. Again, so mine at the time was the like fitness sort of thing. So I was like the sports ministry or something. This was years ago. This was like 5 years ago. So it's been a while. How you sort of renew it and all that sort of stuff. Investor category, that's another one here as well that I'll go through. I won't go through that one here. I'll go through that in this resident guest scheme. So religious, student, I mean these university, or I won't go through that too much. Not going to go through that one. Ex-Sri Lankan one. Okay, so I sort of just mentioned this in the video that I did about the citizenship. So if you're a Sri Lankan citizen at some point in time, you go to a different country, you gain citizenship in that country, your Sri Lankan citizenship will cease under Sri Lankan law. If you don't want to then get dual citizenship, or you've migrated to a country that doesn't allow dual citizenship, you are still then eligible for an ex-Sri Lankan visa, which means it's essentially it's a residence visa. It's kind of like a permanent residence one. You can just continue to renew it because obviously your situation of being an ex-Sri Lankan person doesn't change. You're always an extra, so you can just continue to renew it each year under that. So you just need birth certificate or birth registration under Section 5, subsection 2 of the Citizenship Act. Watch my other videos if that makes no sense to you. Citizenship certificates if citizen by registration, again the same thing. Marriage certificate if applicable, birth certificates of dependents if applicable. So your dependent children and presumably then your spouse can get a residence visa under this category as well. You don't really need to do too much with this one. You can just go to the immigration and they'll give it to you. Family members of a Sri Lankan, so that's the same sort of thing as the ex Sri Lankan one. If your spouse or your dependent children might not be current citizens of Sri Lanka, but they're then still eligible for a residence visa if you are a Sri Lankan. So that one pretty straightforward as well. It's got the things to submit: marriage certificate, birth certificates, things. It's written here. And the validity period. So, what was I gonna say? So for any of these, with the exception of the family member of a Sri Lankan or the ex-Sri Lankan one, you will need to get prior approval before coming. So you'll get an endorsement stamp or a landing visa, I think it's called. It's been a while. So what you do, you'll come to the country. No, sorry. Yeah, so you'll be in your country. Whatever the agreement is between the companies and everything that you're going to be working with, you'll then be given what was it called? Landing permit or something. I can't remember. If I can remember, I'll put it up on the screen at the moment, or I'll look at what it is. But anyway, so that gives you, I think it's about a month or something. So you'll go to the consulate in your country. You'll provide submit all these documents that's proof of all this. They'll give you an endorsement stamp or something in your passport, which you can then you will come to Sri Lanka. You'll go to the immigration in Sri Lanka. Then they'll give you your residence visa. So make sure, don't get confused and think that you just come here and then you do all that. To do it properly, you should get the approval prior to, from the ministry. The ministry, you should get the approval prior to coming to Sri Lanka. Your company should handle all that in advance, because you don't want to come here. Then you don't have the this landing permit thing, and you just get like a tourist visa or something, and it's just it's not how it's meant to go. I mean, I'm sure people do things a bit differently, but that's the way it's supposed to be done. You're supposed to get this I think what was it called? Entry visa. Yeah, entry visa. I don't know entry visa. So and you'll get that, and then you go with you'll show all these documents to get at the consulate in your country to get this entry visa. Then you'll show them again at the immigration when you get to Sri Lanka, and they'll give you your residence visa. So that's applicable to all of these, with the exception of, because you can't turn a tourist visa into a residence visa, with the exception of the ex-Sri Lankan one and the family member, like spouse ones and all that. Those you can just be here on a tourist visa. You got to wait 3 months. Yeah, you have to be on a tourist visa for 3 months in the country. Then you can get either the ex-Sri Lankan one or the spouse one. The other ones, though, you must get this entry visa and do it all that way. Much more confusing. So then the next one, My Dream Home Visa Program. So this one is actually, I'll look how I'm going for time. No, I'll go through it anyway. So this one is for people like retirees who are retired. So you got to be over 55 for this one. This one's a bit different. So it's a 2-year visa. You can continue to renew it. To get this one, what you do, put $15,000 equivalent into a fixed deposit account in an approved bank in Sri Lanka. On top of that, so you would get the interest on this, and it would go into a Sri Lankan bank account that you can use in the country. On top of that, you must have $1,500 or equivalent for the principal applicant. So if you're a couple, one person, and then another 750 US dollars or equivalent. So what's that? 2,250 in total for a couple, coming in every month. And all you got to be able to do is prove it. For a spouse or a current account. Yeah, so, and that will just go into your Sri Lankan bank account, as well as then I suppose the interest from this, and that 15,000 will stay there untouched. So so that'll be in a fixed deposit. Interest will go into this account. Then this money as well going into that. I assume the same account. Obviously, I haven't done this one because you got to be over 55. This one's pretty straightforward. So then you just submit the documents that it says here, and you just got to prove it really each month that you're having this money coming in, and that's in a bank account, and you'll get a letter from your bank. I'm sure if you went to one of the major banks, they would know exactly how to go about doing this visa, because it's probably quite common. It's probably one of the more common ones. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Then if you decide that you don't want to live here anymore, you can then end the visa and you'll get that money back, obviously, and you can take back your money as well. So that's another one. Residence, what's it called? My dream home visa. You got to be over 55 for that one, as I said though. So last one is the resident guest scheme visa. So this is targeted towards high-end investors. So for this one, you invest $250,000 US minimum in various different avenues of investment, whatever it might be, whether it's in banks or property. You would have to discuss that with whoever's in charge of all that. So I just know that you invest 250,000 US dollars for the main applicant, then either spouse or children, it's another 35,000 US. And then there's the professional category of that as well. I think every month, you need to prove. I think these are two separate ones, so it's not this and this. I think it's either this or this. So, for example, for like a couple, then you need to have 3,000 US dollars or equivalent coming into a Sri Lankan bank account every month. This visa, I can't really go into too much detail on this one just because I don't really know enough about. I just know that if you do have the money, it's got to be over 250,000 US. This one might be one to look into because this gives a 3-year residence visa, or it might even be a 5-year one now. I think they were talking about increasing it. But yeah, if you don't have that kind of money, it's not even worth looking into. That one, this visa, I can't really give too much information on though, just because I don't know, I don't have that kind of money, so I haven't really looked into it. That's really it though. So, I'll go through. I won't do any more in this video. That's definitely long enough, but I'll go through things of like next time how to actually start a company. So then, which one was it? Because this one's sort of one of the more common ones that people do. Not investor. Which one was it? Student. I thought it was around here. Not that one. 4, 3. I don't know. The one where it was the one that I said that I had done. I don't know where it's gone. The 6 is that one registered in. Anyway, I'll go through another that's not investor category either. I don't know what happened there. I'll go through how to like register a company, things like that, to get that visa that is then used for, like, if you're the director of a company, you can then essentially like employ yourself and go through that. So I'll go through that in its own separate video which people tend to use for whether it's actual businesses, or they'll have maybe they'll build like a guest house or something that's then sort of they rent it out, which is considered sort of a business, and then they run that business because they're the owner of that business and all that sort of stuff. So I'll go through that in another video. So hopefully this has been at least somewhat helpful, and I'll speak to you guys next time.